Cradle, The Rise of the Chosen, Chapter 18, Part 2. Again, the night sky was littered heavily with stars, giving off a sense of celestial fuzz. The water smelled like the lightest cologne one could imagine, but was still deeply pleasurable. The black sand twinkled like strewn diamonds in the night light, and the beach they were on was at least 10 miles from the resplendent city in the south. For all Takuma knew, maybe they weren't going to the city. Then again, he had a feeling as if the very buildings were readying themselves for Josh's visit. Buki, Suili, Janes. You listened, 12 hours, the vocalman said, and they vanished in a spread of the usual multicolored sparkles. Josh stood still on the beach for a moment. It looked like he was trying to hear something inside of his mind. Gianoa gave Takuma a "this is awkward" look, and Takuma pursed his lips, giving no opinion. Jisnuki, papali mil duli, aima na hakatai. We are safe. No one knows about our arrival, and the crown seems to be out of town, Josh explained. Nikuli, itu itimi. We have to walk to the city, Takuma asked, feeling just a bit tired. Hajuk tikum. That's the least of our worries, Josh said. Disuila, Jimoli, Kakual. We essentially have to find Mishua. How should I say? Yakimi Volturo Manuel Nieti Natumal. What is corrupting this mass of people, Josh explained. Fiduo? Then what? Gino asked. Loiki Kali Moli Amal. All we need is the intel now. Bullshit here Naamul Kolku. And I'm going on pure premonition now. Josh cocked a smile. Hime Viola. But I'm not too bad at it. They walked from the calming beach to a sort of suburban port town where younger citizens in neat and plain clothes milled around the amber lights of the cozy cafes. More of them rode vehicles similar to Takuma's world, bicycles. However, though these moved somehow sleeker and faster, the air was clean and the ocean's fragrance here mingled with the smell from the restaurants, and Takuma could already tell this society was completely on Ayuman. He did get the feeling that Crown Rimba consumed meat somehow and somewhat in the open. Josh walked silently. He smiled at passerby and made way for the elderly, though they didn't look too frail most of the time. The signs for the shops and restaurants weren't neon, but had a romantic and eye-catching vivid glow to them. And at that moment of looking at a sign for a corner store, Takuma remembered to look in the sky, and the fuzzy brightness of it couldn't help but warm his heart, and again he saw a shooting star streak across the busy sky. Jikoli, Iolu. I could look at it for days too, Josh said, not looking at Takuma but straight ahead. Persuai, beautiful, Giano added. Josh stopped walking abruptly and rubbed the inner corner of his slightly bright eyes. Mishu Moali, something is here, he said. He started walking to an alley with a bright white street light at the mouth. Dimuaz, come and follow me. Tancha, Miloke, we have to hide to see. They waited in the alley, focusing on the sidewalk. Several people passed, oblivious to them, and the people here seemed noticeably more merry than they did on Cradle, and it made Takuma wonder just how bad things could get here if this was the base. And then he thought that if evil was taking root here, and this place was so peaceful, it may be a blacker or more pervading evil than one would find on Cradle. So they kept observing, and Gianoa was starting to get restless after 20 minutes. She wouldn't say anything, but she kept looking at Takuma like, come on. Then a man in a black trench coat suddenly appeared from the thin air and walked towards the shops on the other side of the street. But as he flapped his coat closed, he accidentally, at least it looked so to Takuma, dropped a small package, the size of a deck of playing cards. They all waited until the man wasn't visible all the way up the avenue. Then Josh grabbed the item and came back to the alley with Takuma and Gianoa. Josh inspected the item. It seemed to be a mechanical device. Josh motioned them to follow him deeper into the darkness of the alley. Josh looked down at the device and nodded to himself. He pressed the glowing, clear green button on the short side of the rectangular device and touched Gino on the right ear and then did the same to Takuma. He heard a light hissing sound in his general hearing. He looked at Josh quizzically. Josh nodded and held up a finger. Someone on the recording cleared their throat. There then was clacking dress shoes walking closer to what was recording all this. Hasil, biennu. You were late, said a deep, serious voice. Najiawa, hienot. I was very busy, a stressed male voice said in return. Then there was continued silence for about a minute. Gino looked at Takuma and shrugged. He shrugged back. Pt2 ma'an. It has arrived, the stressed male voice said, and then the recording fell into a silent hiss. Takuma looked at Josh and his eyes were bright white. Gino looked slightly scared.